What's going on, guys? This is Ryan with our Outpost, and obviously, I am not in my typical setup. I don't have my normal mic. I'm using this crappy mic headset that I have. Um, but I really needed to get something out there because I am on vacation right now. I'm actually at Legoland with the family, and this is the corner that is the least Lego-ish of anything I could find. So here I am, sitting here. But over the past couple of days, we had a lot of Star Wars news kind of come down. We had the thing I'm going to talk about today, obviously. Disney CEO Bob Iger reveals George Lucas felt betrayed by the new Star Wars trilogy. And in this, we get it revealed that George was disappointed when he found out that, that they weren't going to be following kind of what he had laid out, the quick synopsis that he had given for what his plan was forward with the sequel trilogy. And of course, it's not unexpected that he would be upset about that. That is his creation. But let's go through and see exactly what Bob Iger wrote about it. So this is all released. Bob Iger released this all in his new biography, I guess, his memoir, which is called "The Ride of a Lifetime: Lessons Learned from 15 Years as CEO at Walt Disney." Essentially, Iger reportedly writes in the memo, "We made it clear that we would not be contractually obligated to adhere to the plot lines he'd laid out," talking about George Lucas. During a meeting where they began to discuss the first movie, Lucas immediately got upset as they began to describe the plot, and it dawned on him they weren't going to use one of the stories he submitted during negotiations. George knew they weren't contractually obligated to anything, but he thought that buying the story achievements was a tacit promise that we'd follow through on them. And he says he was careful not to mislead him, but that he feels like he could have handled it better. George felt betrayed, and while this whole process would never have been easy for him, we got up to an unnecessarily rocky start. After Lucas saw The Force Awakens in private screening, he didn't hide his disappointment. Lucas said, "There's nothing new here. In each of these films, the original trilogy, it was important for him to present new worlds, new stories, new characters, new technologies. But in this one, George said, there weren't enough visual or technical leaps forward. He wasn't wrong, but he also wasn't appreciating the pressure we were under to give ardent fans a film that felt quintessentially Star Wars." So he didn't understand the pressure we were under to basically just remake what you already made with no new ideas, essentially. Iger continued, "We'd intentionally created a world that was visually and tonally connected to the earlier films, not to stray too far from what people loved and expected, and George was criticizing us for the very thing we were trying to do." So it's interesting, right? Well, one of the things that I found most interesting is that it shouldn't be a shock to anybody, really. I've got a video here that I want to show you guys. I'll be stopping it a little in between just because I don't want to worry about too much. But this is George Lucas and Stephen Colbert at the Tribeca Film Festival. This is back before the release of The Force Awakens. And you can hear kind of what he said and why I don't think that anyone should necessarily be surprised with how he felt. He was obviously trying to spin it a certain way here, but you can kind of see some information. Here we go.
What are your hopes for the new Star Wars movies? What is your A New Hope for the new Star Wars movie?
Great planned words, Stephen Colbert. You're hilarious.
As they clearly are headed to a new franchise.
Well, I hope it's successful.
A new
I
white
hope they
slaver.
do a great job. They've, the original saga was about.
So here's where it's good to pay attention, and also I think it's great to pay attention if you're an Expanded Universe fan or someone who wants to defend the Expanded Universe, and listen to what George exactly has to say here.
The father, the children, and the grandchildren, and that's not a secret to anybody. It's even in the novels and everything. But
it's even in the novels. So that's what the intention was: the father, the children, and the grandchildren. Not a secret, just like what the novels say. So anyone that says that the Expanded Universe was a joke and no one was ever intending to go there, okay, just like the novels say, that's what George's plan was. Very interesting. Let's hear that again.
The father, the children, and the grandchildren, and that's not a secret to anybody. It's even in the novels and everything. But the children were in their 20s and everything, so it wasn't Phantom Menace again. But
just to make sure it wasn't Phantom Menace again. We're not having little kids. Don't worry. It's adults.
So I'm hoping, and they've taken it in a different direction, and I'm hoping I'm excited to see. Since they didn't use my stories, I have no idea what they're doing.
Have you looked?
And so there we hear they didn't use my stories. This isn't a secret. It's been out there. Let's finish out what he has to say.
Did any of the teaser trailers?
I have seen the first one. The other one that came out today. I just saw what was on CBS, but I'm gonna try to look at it. I want to see it on the big screen.
So there you go. All right. I thought that was interesting. So when I heard Bob Iger say that George felt betrayed, it wasn't really that much of a surprise to me. I've seen this interview a lot of times because it's one of the things I show to people who say, George Lucas didn't care about the expanded universe or anything like that. Right? When he clearly says right there that his original plan, it shouldn't be a secret because it was written in the novels. Interesting. But yeah, it's sad that Disney bought Star Wars and George Lucas gave them his plan and they basically just threw it in the trash so that they could just make a remake of The New Hope, I guess. But I thought that was interesting to get out there. I haven't seen too many people talk about that clip in a while that I showed with Stephen Colbert and George Lucas. So I hope it gives some perspective and how you could see that George wasn't necessarily thrilled from the beginning that they weren't going to use what he gave them. Well, what do you guys think? Are you surprised that this news is out there? Are you more surprised that Bob Iger wrote it himself in his memoir? I thought that was kind of strange. Make sure you let me know in the comments below. Subscribe, smash the like button. I apologize for the quality of this video, but I will talk to you guys later.